Okay, I think we made it. I
Yay.
think we're live. Let's get a test from Joe here to make sure. Yay. I didn't think this was going to happen tonight. I got that close to wondering. We're
Yeah.
we're live. Okay. Hi everyone. Sorry we're a few minutes late. We had technical issues here at the Criso residence. Trying to get onto our laptop that decided that it just wanted to die like a minute before we started. So
Yep.
it goes, right? Hey, at least there was another computer in the house. Joe had to go grab the big screen right in front of me right now. So yes, hello everyone. Welcome back for another breast sleeping Q&A. I am Shari Criso and I am joined here by my favorite guest and co-host, Rebecca Michi, children's sleep consultant. And yeah, I was afraid we weren't going to make it for a minute, but I am so glad we were able to, because of course we have another amazing night for you, right, Rebecca?
That's right. Yes. It was a bit hit and miss for a few minutes. I was just kind of sat here all alone.
Yeah. Well, I would never let you do that. I will figure out a way. If I had to fly to Seattle right now and do that with you, right? I wish you could. I know you had a nice sunny day. We did not have that here on the East Coast.
Yeah, we've had a beautiful day today.
Awesome. Well, I am going to let everybody jump in. Hi, everyone. I see you all jumping in here. It's actually kind of nice to have the big screen in front of me. I can actually see a lot more. I think I could get used to this, and I think that's what we'll be doing from now on. So as we said, this is our breast sleeping Q&A, and I know we already did one this month. And as we said to you a couple weeks ago when we were on, it's been so popular, and obviously information that all of you need so much, because the questions are enormous and there's so much that comes in, and we never have enough time to answer all of it. And so Rebecca and I decided that we would start doing them twice a month together and answer your questions and hopefully get through most of them. So if you like that idea and you're happy that we're back, let's get some hearts going across the screen. Lots and lots of love for everybody who's here, and for Rebecca and I for doing this again this month. And we will continue to do that. We actually planned out our dates the other day for the next couple months coming up.
Yeah. Very exciting.
It's very exciting. It's honestly, I love doing this with you, Rebecca. I feel like this is the best way to do these Q&As, to be able to really help just about everybody with whatever issue they have, whether it's breastfeeding or sleeping. Then they really do go so hand in hand. So it's like the perfect combination.
Totally. Yes, it really is. It's a great, great Q&A. And the people that we have here are always so amazing. I love it.
Aren't they? I just have the best community. I just love you all so much. And I agree with you 100%. I agree with you. For anybody who's new, I want to welcome you tonight. We have a lot of new people who join the page and also on the community every single day from all over the world. And so I know there's new people in the chat right now. I can tell because I don't recognize some of your names, and I'm pretty good at that. So if you are new, I want to hear from you for a moment. Just tell us that you're new so that we can welcome you properly like we always do. And just so happy to have you here. So go ahead and tell us you're new here. And for everyone else, let me know where you're from. I'd like to know where everybody's from tonight. Go ahead and put that into the chat, and let us know where you are in your mommy continuum. Are you expecting your first? Are you expecting your fifth? Are you nursing twins right now? Are you, trying to wean a toddler? Where are you on that continuum? Love to hear from you. And here's somebody new. Welcome, Stephanie. See, I see you there. Hi, Stephanie. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Yay. Tonight we have, let me just for a second introduce myself and let Rebecca do that same thing. Because again, we sometimes forget that everybody knows everything, that we've been here forever. My name is Shari Criso, and I am a registered nurse and a certified nurse midwife and an international board certified lactation consultant. And I've been working with moms and babies and dads for over 25 years. I've stopped counting after 25 years. So we say over 25 years now in just about every capacity. And now all of my work is here online with my beautiful community. So that's me. Let's hear from Rebecca.
I'm Rebecca Michi, children's sleep consultant and author based in Seattle, but originally from the UK, just outside London originally. I'm a gentle, no-cry sleep consultant, been working with families for 872 years.
Exactly.
Around that. And I said I'm gentle, no-cry? Yes, I said that. Mum to 2 daughters. I have a 14-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Yes, Rebecca and I are kind of in the same space for our mommying right now. I have a 16-year-old and an almost 14-year-old. My baby's going to be 14. It's unbelievable. Don't blink. That's all I can recommend to all of you. And if you feel like you're not getting enough sleep right now, I promise you those days do pass, and then you can't wake them up, because that's what we're doing right now.
Yes, it really is challenging.
We've got the opposite issue in this house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic. All right. So, and tonight we have awesome partners too, with amazing prizes for all of you. So our partners tonight are the breast support pillow, which so many of you know and love. I do so much about this product here on our live streams, and we do giveaways all the time, and I talk about it because I absolutely love this product. And I've actually, both products tonight, I have worked with for years and years and years. I used to have a retail store here in New Jersey and a learning center for many of you. Some of you here in the chat, I know, are customers here from when I had my store. And we used to sell this product in the store. And I just love Anita and Nadia, the inventors and the founders of the company Breast Support Pillow. And what this is, it's a pillow wedge that goes underneath your breast to hold the breast up and support it while you're nursing. So unlike a breastfeeding pillow that holds the baby, this is a pillow for your breast, okay? And they do come in different sizes. I'll show them to you in a little while. But if you want to win the breast support pillow, see the different sizes here? Really important to get the right size. Really important, all right? If you want to win the breast support pillow, you just need to type messages. Actually, we have a message tonight. So messages here in the chat, and you will get a little message from me into your Facebook Messenger that will show you how to register to win, and also get information about our prizes and everything else that we're going to mention in a minute. All right, so you type messages here. If it doesn't work for you in this post, oh, don't do it yet. I did it too fast. Joe has to set it up. It's great. But in a minute, you'll type messages. Don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. And then Joe will set that up so it goes. And there's also a link in the post tonight, so that if it doesn't work for you after the chat is over, you can just go right to the chat, to the post, this post here, hit the link, and it will open up your messenger as well. Our other partner is Earth Mama Organics. And I love Earth Mama. I use Earth Mama every single day. I have since I was pregnant, and I'm talking 14 years ago, 16 years ago, and I have used it every day since. I'm not kidding. It's the moisturizer I use on my face every day. It's the lotion that I use. It's the soaps that we use, because Earth Mama is completely organic. It's one of the products that I know and trust the most, because the people that are behind this, Melinda, who is the owner of the company, who is a dear friend of mine, is a registered nurse and an herbalist, and I trust nothing more than these products for pregnancy, for birth products, for baby, for breastfeeding. They have the best nipple butter in the world, and you can use it on so many different things. For your lips too. And all their teas. It's up now. Great. Messages is working now. If it didn't work the first time, type it again, just because it wasn't ready. And now Rebecca, they make a new deodorant.
Ooh.
That I love. It's a non-toxic, no chemical deodorant for anybody, really, but specifically for pregnancy and breastfeeding. It's so important not to use products, especially deodorants, that are under the armpits, going into the lymph nodes, that don't have toxins like aluminum and other things that are loaded into these regular deodorants. And sometimes I know I've gone through, I was talking to them today, and I thought, I've gone through so many different natural deodorants to avoid the toxins, and they either irritate me, like I get a rash, or they don't work.
Yeah.
One or the other. I'm telling you, I have been using this for several weeks right now, and it works and totally fine. So it's like that perfect balance of what's in here that is not too much, but enough to actually work and not make things irritated. So we're going to do a whole show on deodorants coming up.
Great. Oh, that'll be a good one.
A whole show on, heavy metal toxicities and deodorants and things like that, so that we can avoid those products for ourselves and our baby. You need this deodorant? Yes, you do, Katie. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. And it comes in like all these great scents and also an unscented, like this one's like the citrus. I'm using the lavender right now. And then they have a non-scent. I'm trying to think what else. There was one more, because there's 4. They actually have like a sample pack with these tiny little ones where you can actually, I have it in my purse, which is great, because that's the first thing, like you walk out of the house, you're like, oh my God, I forgot to put my deodorant on, to have these little sample ones. So they sell them like that, and then you can try out the 4 different flavors. Flavors, okay. What's the last one? Bright citrus, ginger.
Ooh.
Yeah, so ginger, bright citrus, lavender, and no scent.
Love them.
Yes, it's excellent. You have to try this.
Yeah, I'm going to give those a go. Definitely.
Totally. So anyway, that's our sponsors for tonight. I believe the messages link is working now, so you can go ahead and type that, and you will get a link. And also in that link, you're going to get information about our private Facebook group, so that if you want to join and be part of our community and watch all the videos and all the classes and everything else that comes with it, that will be in the link, as well as Rebecca's Sleep Academy. So you want to just tell everybody what that is, Rebecca?
Yeah, so I've been working with families, as I said, for over 800 years. And I came up with a Sleep Academy because not everybody wants to work one-on-one with me. In the Sleep Academy, you'll find step-by-step instructions for gently sleep training using my technique, the Michi method. So that means you're not leaving your child to cry it out. We have a private Facebook community. We have weekly Q&As. You have the opportunity to set up private calls with me. So it's just a space for where your wishes and your desires for sleep are respected, and we're encouraging and gently working towards a better night's sleep.
Yeah. And that's what I love so much about your approach, Rebecca, is that it is gentle, and it's not this like let the baby cry it out. It's not, and it's not from working with you over the past year and listening to your approach. I know also that it's not one way. It's not like you have one answer for every mom or every child. It's so individual, and it allows moms to really bring their instincts into it and follow what feels good for them. They're caring for and training or sleep training with their baby. And I think that's so important. And that's why I love working with you, because I feel like it's very similar to my approach and how I feel about breastfeeding as well. There is not just always one answer. And I had a mom here this week for a private consultation. She's actually in my Facebook group, and she lives close by and needed help and came in for a visit with me. And as we were talking, I told her I'm intentionally, I was being kind of vague with my answers. And she wanted to know, like, well, exactly how long would I feed, and how long would I pump, and exactly. And I was very vague, and I finally said to her, I know I sound very vague, and that's intentional, because I don't want to give you like just specific guidelines, like this is how it has to be, because I want things to really, I want your own natural feel for what's happening in the moment to come through, and not feel like you have to ignore that to follow my directions.
I do very similar things. Is that if you've got your own instinct on what's happening, and if you're thinking that because somebody has said something to me that you shouldn't do it that way, then you're just going against your instinct, and you're just getting very, very conflicted. And I know that we're both very firm believers that a mother's instinct is so important and so huge that we take this into consideration when throughout our whole parenting journey. And it can be tricky because we obviously want the best for ourselves and for our families and for our children. And we get so much conflicting advice, but always sort of go with that, gut, the instinct. It's kept the human race going for so long.
Isn't it true? Isn't it
Mm-hmm.
so true? And I think that we don't really trust ourselves. We think we don't know anything. We're a new mom, so I don't know anything, and that's true that there's like information that you need. And it's why you're tuning in tonight. It's why you'll watch my breastfeeding classes. It's why you'll join Rebecca's Sleep Academy to learn from people like us and other moms who've been through it or have additional tips and advice. But don't discount, as we start the show tonight, do not discount your own instincts and that they are there, that, having a baby is a natural process of life, and things are there instinctually that do kick in, and they're giving you messages. And it's that thought in your mind, like, I feel like I should do this, or I think this would be the right thing, even though I've read this. That's the messages and the inner wisdom that actually exists, if you can trust it and let it come out. And then it's that finding that balance, as you go through this journey of motherhood, of finding that balance of that inner voice and then the expert voices and the advice, and knowing where to let things in and where to tune them out.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And I think as well, when it comes to that gut instinct, that it's more of what we don't want to do. That's what we know. It's more, I know I don't want to do this. I know I don't want to do this. That's sort of where we sort of first see it, is I know this is, I want to breastfeed, or I want to get my child sleeping as soon as possible. And I know I don't want to do this. I know I don't want to leave them to cry it out, or I know I don't want to supplement with formula, or whatever that is. You know what you don't want to do. And that then helps you guide you. It's that advice then that you want to be searching out to help you reach your goals.
Totally. Yeah, I'm gonna use the technology here. So here, Sasha just posted this. She said, yes, so needed. Peaceful and respectful. Yes. I love that. That's true. Peaceful and respectful. Both.
Definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want for our children, isn't it? Whether that's with sleep, whether that's with breastfeeding, whether that's as they're going into preschool, with friends. That's what we want. That's what we want for all of us.
Completely. And that doesn't end.
No.
Excellent. All right, so should we answer some questions?
Yes.
Oh, right. The question. Let's do a sleep question. This one came in from Katie. And she said, how can I get my little one to go back to sleep in his bassinet after a feeding? He is knocked out, and then when I move him, he wakes up until I pick him up again and either rock him or feed him again.
Okay. So a couple of things. I'm sure there's some things that you'll have some advice on this as well. So one of them could be that he's not been burped after you've fed him. You're trying to lay him down. He's got an uncomfortable tummy. Of course, he's just going to wake up. Or it could be, and I'll sort of leave that to you to sort of talk about that. But what I would say here would be to make sure that he's in that deeper sleep. Because if you're trying to get him down and he's too awake, we know that the movement of laying him down is going to wake him up. So the deeper asleep that he is, then the more likely he is to stay asleep. So if he's awake, you've fed him and he's going down to sleep. If he's just kind of here, the movement, he's just going to wake straight back up. So if you wait just a little bit longer, he's in a bit of a deeper sleep. And then you move him into the bassinet. You keep your hands on him. You can jiggle a little bit. That's then going to make sure that he's going back down into that deeper sleep. So he was in a deeper sleep, so the movement didn't wake him. And then you're making sure that he's going back down into deeper sleep by keeping your hands on and a bit of a jiggle. So it may be that actually before you're doing the whole laying back down in bed, it may be a few minutes longer before you are laying back down in bed. But if it means that he actually stays sleeping, then that is better. So yeah, just timing. So it may be that he needs to be asleep for a little bit longer. So try holding a little bit longer, but it may be that he needs to burp, and I'll hand that over to you with the burping.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. There's many reasons why a baby will wake up as soon as you put them down. So burping is one of them. And it's actually one of the questions that came in from someone else that I wanted to answer as well. So we get to it, but I will talk about it now for a moment. So quite often, especially at night, you nurse the baby and you're like, the baby's sleeping, just down, and you skip over that burping part. And burping is a big part of nursing effectively so that the baby can go a little longer, be able to get those little bit of stretches and not have that gas that's going through their belly. It's sort of like a breastfeeding myth that breastfed babies don't need to burp. I hear this all the time. Well, they're breastfed, they don't need to burp. It's, if you give them bottles, yes, but that's not true. All babies need to burp, whether they are breastfed or bottle fed. Anyone who swallows air, and some breastfed babies will swallow more air than others, because if you have if you got an oversupply or a heavy letdown, like a fast letdown, and the baby's really gulping, they could really be swallowing air. And sometimes those burps are quiet, so you don't really hear them coming out, but they need to still come out. And so I have, for many of you, you've even come to me because of the burping video. We've had over 4 million views on that burping video that I did. So if you want to learn how to burp, please go to my burping video and watch it, because that'll make it a little easier and more effective. It happens quickly, like it works fast. But like Rebecca said, getting that air out is super important so that you don't lay them down and 10 minutes later they're screaming and it also makes them feel artificially full so that it fills their belly with air and they think they're done. So they stop the nursing, you think it's over, and then they're hungry again quickly. One other thing I wanted to mention, because like Rebecca said, keeping your hand on them, but that whole sensation of the baby's head going back. Did you just lose me?
No.
Can you see me?
Yep.
I can't see myself.
Oh, you're still there and looking gorgeous.
This happened the other day with Jamie. Right at the end of our Q&A, he went completely black. And I couldn't hear him or see him, but everybody else could.
Wow.
Now I can't see myself. So I have no idea. I think I might need to do the rest of the show with just seeing you, which is totally fine. I don't need to see myself. I just need to see you. As long as you could see me.
I can see you. Yes, I can see you fine.
This whole thing is driving me crazy at this point. But anyway, so what I was saying was when you go to lay the baby down, that feeling of their head going back can actually trigger the Moro reflex, or that startle reflex that a baby has. That's actually the trigger for it, is the head going back. So the baby's sleeping fine, you're holding the baby, and then you've nursed, you're burped, you've done whatever, and you go to lay the baby down. Now, what are you doing? You're putting their head back, and they startle and they wake themselves up. So, I think one of the things that you can try is swaddling the baby to help suppress that Moro reflex, especially in the beginning. That reflex does disappear after a few weeks. It doesn't last forever, but in those first 6 weeks, 2 months,
longer, yeah, sometimes even longer.
Yeah, it can last even up to 3 months. They can have that reflex, but it's pretty strong in the beginning. And so when their head goes back, you will see that. If you swaddle them, or we always talk about the love to dream, the love to dream, even that, just to keep their hands from flailing out and startling themselves awake, that's a really good way to prevent that from them. If it's immediate, the burping will happen like maybe a half an hour later.
Mm-hmm.
The Moro reflex will happen immediately upon laying the baby down.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And as well, when it comes to then that they weren't in a deep enough sleep, that will happen after about could be sort of fairly quickly, or anything up to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's when that wake up will happen.
Totally. Okay, let's get some hearts. This is the way we do things here. So Katie asked a question, Rebecca answered it, I answered it, and now we're going to get a ton of hearts going across the screen. Lots and lots of love. It's how we give love to each other here. So let's get hearts going across. I want to see so many hearts. Okay, so now are we on a sleep question or breastfeeding question? Let me look here.
That was a sleep one.
That was a sleep one. Okay, so let's go into a breastfeeding question here. Breastfeeding question, Krista asked the question. She said, I have an 8-month-old. She's a very easily distracted eater, which means lots of just breastfeeding here and there, stopping and starting. Plus we have started baby-led weaning, which she just loves solid food. All of this, I feel, has lowered my supply. The last 2 times I needed to pump, I only pump for date nights, and it doesn't happen that often. I'd only get less than an ounce from each breast. If I use the second letdown method with my even flow pump, I might get another ounce, so 3 ounces altogether. Is this normal, or should I worry? She's definitely not starving, LOL. Okay. And she's also saying, P.S., she only takes 1 breast per feeding. All right, so here's what I'm going to say about this. Once you start solid foods with your baby, your breast milk will decrease, and that's normal. The amount of milk that your baby needs to eat really doesn't change throughout the entire time that you're nursing. So they hit their stride somewhere around 6 weeks, maybe sometimes even a little sooner. They may be drinking about 3 ounces. They may be drinking 4 ounces. They get up to somewhere around 3 to 4, sometimes 5. It depends on the time of day or the baby. But then it doesn't increase more from there. And then as they start to eat solid foods, the amount of feedings or the amount of milk that you're giving at a feeding may decrease because they're getting filled up with the solid foods. That's the point, is that they're supposed to start to complement their feedings with the solid foods. And so you may notice that your breasts all of a sudden shrink down a little bit in size, that your bras are no longer fitting anymore and you need to be refit for your bras because your breasts are smaller and you're not making as much. The fact that you're able to pump even 2 ounces or 3 ounces, like you're saying sometimes, I think that's fine. And it actually can be, because you don't pump often, like she's saying, she only pumps for date nights, it's an occasional thing. You're not really that conditioned to using a pump when you're doing it occasionally. So for moms who are using them full time, they're either exclusively pumping or they're back to work, their bodies are much more adapted to expressing and letting down to a breast pump. It's really different than the baby. So when you're just doing it occasionally, I would expect that you may have a little bit of a harder time getting the milk out and having a full 4 ounces come out at one time. In those cases, what I would recommend is that you plan those date nights like you're doing, and then don't try to get it all done in one sitting. Try to pump a little bit, throughout the whole day, or maybe over the course of 2 or 3 days where you're getting a half an ounce here, a half an ounce there, or an ounce there. Don't worry about it. It sounds like you're doing awesome and that there's really nothing wrong. And the fact that you can get an extra ounce out when you use my 3-stage pumping method with the even flow pump just tells me that, again, it has more to do with your ability to use your pump, that there's actually more milk there, that if you can stimulate those letdowns or the second or third letdown like you're describing here with this pump, that there is more milk. I have no concern about a low milk supply with you. I really don't. That's my, and the fact that you said she's definitely not starving, I'm assuming that means that she's fine. She's not seeming hungry. She's not losing weight. She's peeing and pooping and doing all the things that she's supposed to do. Try not to worry. It's the biggest worry that everyone has, is that somehow there's not enough. There's not enough. The baby's crying. There is not enough.
Yeah.
It's not the only reason a baby cries. Okay. And it's, and looking at the amount of milk, many moms don't realize how much milk they're supposed to be making. So it's actually, it's usually much less than what you think when it comes to breastfeeding. So try to, yes, you're welcome, Krista. She's in the chat. You're welcome. Yes. Do everything you're doing. You are doing amazing. Amazing. Okay. And 8 months in and starting baby-led weaning, perfection.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, let's get some hearts for Krista because she's here in the chat and we got her question answered for her. I just want to also mention, Rebecca, that I have breast support pillow. Anita's in the chat room from the breast support. So I just want to say hi to Anita. She is always with us. She joins our chats all the time, all of our Q&As. She's always present. She's just one of the most wonderful people in the world. And so I really, really love her. Everybody, please just give some hearts and love to Breast Support Pillow because she's amazing and so is her product. And I know a lot of moms who have recently started using it, and that's the pillow I was talking about before, the wedge, and literally said to me, this is a game changer. Like this tiny little thing, that doesn't seem like much. It's everything. And for any of you who are breastfeeding and you need to hold your breast throughout the
That was me. Yeah.
Me too. I mean, I was holding my breast throughout the feeding, and you know, it hurts your arm and you carpal tunnel, and then your shoulders hurting, your neck and shoulder hurt, and it's really what helps to get a better latch, you know, having the breast lifted up to the baby. And I don't, you know, it's not just if you have large breasts. Larger breasts make it a little bit more challenging, and so you may need it even more. But even for moms with smaller breasts, holding that position, I know I needed to.
Yeah.
So, and it's great for moms with multiples too, because you obviously need more than two hands. And this holds the breast while you're working on the other, if you're nursing.
Yeah. And just getting random people at the mall to come and hold your breast, it's really frowned upon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
So get the pillow. Don't ask random people at the mall.
I actually have a picture because, you know, it's so unique and different than other products that I just want to show everybody a picture of what this looks like in use. And these are actually some of our moms who have posed for these pictures. So see if you could see it better. I'm going to put it on its solo for a second. There you go. See it underneath the breast? There's a great picture too. Holding the breast up. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, you can really see where the breast would be kind of hanging down more and pulling out of the baby's mouth, causing a poor latch and positioning to the breast, which then makes the feedings more difficult. It can cause sore nipples. It can cause all kinds of things. So that's a really good example of what it looks like. Again, not a breastfeeding pillow, breast support pillow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now I know we're on a sleep question. Now I know. Okay, so hold on one second. Okay, this came in from Shari. Shari said, my son is 2.5. I had an ectopic and needed surgery, so we stopped nursing for a month back in January. Then he started back up again. He wakes up 2 to 5 times a night to search for me to nurse. He's 2.5. I love him. And our nursing bond, but how do I get him to wean off? I'm so tired now after two years of this. I end up in his bed most nights as I can't even open my eyes from overexhaustion.
Oh, wow, that's tough. Really tough. Okay. What I would suggest that you do is, there's a couple of ways that you can go about this. One of them, which actually works really, really well, is to not lay down to do the feed, because that is super easy for your child, then just to kind of roll over and latch on. So if you make a bigger deal of the feed, and so I suggest with the families that I work with that moms sit up, they don't have to go to a chair or anything, but just sitting up in bed can make a huge difference. Now, if you're doing this between 2 and 5 times a night, again, 5 times a night, that's a lot of times you're having to do this, and I understand that that is completely exhausting. Do not feel that you have to do this for every single feed. It is never, ever, with anything to do with sleep, an all or nothing. You could just do this maybe with the first feed, or a feed before you go to bed, before you're getting into his bed. Just sitting up, making sort of a bigger deal of that feed. Honestly, I have managed to night wean, especially children this age, night wean by just doing this, making it not so easy for the child. But that does mean it's not so easy for you. So you can go about it that way. Another way that I suggest that families do this is to reduce down the amount that they're feeding their child, because if they're feeding, it's not necessarily that they're getting 2 to 5 big feeds during the night, but between even 2 to 5 little feeds during the night, there's probably quite a bit of milk over the whole night. You suddenly try and cut any one or all of those out, your child is really, really hungry. They're really, really hangry. You've got a really hangry 2-year-old on your hands in the middle of the night, and nobody on the planet wants that at all. So what I suggest that you do is just with one of those feeds, reduce down the amount of minutes that you're nursing for. So let's just say you're nursing for 5 minutes, reduce it down to 4 minutes. See, what we're doing is we're helping to just sort of adjust the child's stomach, how much they're getting. It's just easier on them and it's easier on you. You could do sort of something along with the 2 of those, where you're sitting up to do one of the feeds and you're beginning to reduce it down. So it's just something that you can, when you can then see that you're getting some results, that great, we're really able to reduce these feeds down, you're going to be able to then continue on with it. So don't think of it all as I've got to now night wean. This is potentially dealing with 5 wake ups a night. that's a terrifying thought. So just do, okay, I'm going to be sitting up for one of those feeds, so that first feed during the night, and then just continue to build on that. It's, as long as you're heading in the right direction, it doesn't matter. And so there's no sort of leaping ahead. Baby steps may even be a little bit too fast because of what's going on in your life with you being so tired and exhausted. Shuffling, you get the same results. It just takes you a little bit longer to get there.
Such good advice. Weaning is it's not an event. It's a process and a transition. And we're going to be talking more about this, but it's, weaning is just not an event. It happens over time. And it doesn't matter really how old your baby is. It has to do with where you're at in your breastfeeding journey. What stage are you at? Are you transitioning now? That's something that actually happens over a period of time. And just like Rebecca said, you can't just go from waking 5 times a night to just nothing. That will be traumatic for you. It'll be traumatic for the baby. There's no reason to have to demand that much.
And no one's sleeping. If you even try and do that, nobody is going to be sleeping. And then you're just going to think, well, this isn't working. And then you're just going to go back to doing exactly what you were doing before.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. I wanted to just give everybody a moment to, if you joined us late and you didn't get the keyword here to be able to get the information to enter for tonight's giveaways from Earth Mama Organics and Breast Support Pillow, as well as links to Rebecca's Sleep Academy and my private Facebook group, where you can join and be part of our community in a private way, where you can talk to each other and talk to me, and I do chime in. And we're going to start doing some awesome events there too, where we'll be joining you for some Q&As within the private group. Anybody here, I know I see a bunch of you guys here, but I want to know anybody who's here that's already in the group, anybody who's not that wants to join, I'd love to hear from you right now. And then we can send you the link. Yes, who's in our private Facebook group? Say hi. If you're not, you could say, I'm not, but I'm going to be later on. As soon as we finish today, you can go over and request to join. Okay, let's see. I had another question here. It was a breastfeeding question. Where was it? I had it and then I lost it. Where is it? Hold on, everybody hold. Just hold, please. Hold, please. Oh, here it is. Okay, Belinda. She said, I've asked this question to a couple of experts and I can't get an answer. So let's answer it. I was told by a friend that you couldn't reheat breast milk. For example, you freeze or refrigerate the milk, you take it out and you heat it up. Your baby doesn't use it all and it gets cold. Can you reheat it? Very good question. Very, very good question. So unlike infant formula, where if you feed the baby, it touches their lips, it's been out for an hour, it needs to be thrown away. Whatever's left in that bottle cannot be saved, put back in the refrigerator. It cannot be used again. The bacteria from the baby's mouth will get into the bottle. Infant formula does not have any it doesn't have any antibodies in it to fight off and fight the bacteria that will grow. And so it's too risky. You throw it away. Unlike that, with breast milk is a living substance. And even when it's been refrigerated and even when it's been frozen, it still is very hard to grow bacteria in breast milk. There hasn't been, the reason that you're not getting answers from the experts is because it's not been studied that well. Like we don't have these huge studies talking about exactly how long will breast milk be okay if you were to put it back in, and will it be a problem? But there are small studies that have been done and small anecdotal information, and then also just what we know about breast milk, that it is very stable. And so typically, when you listen to experts, what they'll say is that I'm echoing. Can you hear an echo, or is it just me? Okay, good. It's just me with all of my problems.
It's all you.
My screen is black. Except for you. I hear myself talk. So I can't see myself, but I can hear myself, which is a terrible combination. But I will keep going here. So what different experts will say is that you can technically, take that milk, feed the baby, And then if the baby doesn't finish the rest of that bottle, you can put it back into the refrigerator, use it again for the next feeding. Do not throw out breast milk. Please do not throw out breast milk. Please don't let anybody throw out your breast milk, especially if you're back to work and you're pumping while you're at work. That breast milk is so precious. You need to make sure that whoever is watching your child, whether it's daycare or a family member, is really aware that they cannot throw out your milk. They should not throw out your milk. And oftentimes they're used to formula. And so they will treat breast milk the way they treat formula, and they know they're supposed to throw that out. They are not supposed to. Yes, liquid gold, Kate, exactly. You don't throw it out. And if you have any question in your mind, do what you do with regular milk. Smell it, taste it, and see how it is. This is from everything that we know, it is not easy to make breast milk go bad, and especially with a full-term healthy baby. If you have a preemie, if you have a sick baby, maybe we take more precautions. We do. But I'm talking about full-term healthy babies. Do not throw out your milk. And this is also another reason to be very, very careful when you are pumping. Be very clean. Wash your hands. Make sure that you're using a clean surface when you put things down. Make sure that the bottles are, clean. And that's going to help too, to not grow more bacteria. But, small studies that they've done have actually shown the opposite, that breast milk, when put into the refrigerator, actually had less bacteria in it than the fresh milk, which is very interesting. Okay. When they've looked at it and they measured the colony counts of bacteria in breast milk, the ones that were freshly pumped had some bacteria because there's bacteria on our pumps parts. There's bacteria on our skin that was able to be measured in the breast milk. But when it was put into the refrigerator or stored for a little while, that living milk with those antibodies killed off the bacteria.
Wow.
Time where the milk actually was cleaning itself.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Really is.
Yeah.
Really is.
And I think I'm saying that to you so that you can really take in just how amazing this all is, and so that you can trust the milk and you can really be careful with it. It is liquid gold, as Kate said, and I don't want you to throw anything out. Okay, so I would say to be conservative, like a conservative answer, because there's no real studies on this. If the baby doesn't finish the bottle, take that bottle, put it in the refrigerator, use it again for the next feeding. And honestly, you don't need to heat breast milk at all. I would do as little to it as possible. If your baby will accept it cold from the refrigerator, or, leaving it out, if you just pumped it, you could leave it out for hours. If your baby will take it cold from the cooler or from the refrigerator, I would do that. Because it will help the baby. It'll make it easier for you, first of all, because if you're out, you don't have to find a way to heat it. But like I said, the less you do to the milk, the better it is. Okay. We just want to do as little to it. So heating it can kill off some of the antibodies and the amazing properties of the milk. So try using it cold, and don't worry about your mother-in-law or your mother who will say, oh, I've heard it all. You're killing their core. No, you're not chilling their core. I've heard that. Okay.
Wow.
More than once. You're chilling their core. You're not chilling their core. They are fine, and they can drink cold milk.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves a cold drink on a warm day.
There you go, especially in the summer, right?
Yeah, exactly. We all like a cold drink.
Sometimes babies actually will do better with it cold, taken from the bottle, because it's different.
Yeah, different enough. Yes.
So anything that you do is, anything you do from the beginning, you'll start to develop those kind of habits, or you can get your baby used to it where they will never take it cold. Start with it cold and see how they do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do another sleep question.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. Okay. Sleeping. All right. This one came in from Sasha, and I think Sasha is here, right? So Sasha said, hi, Shari and Rebecca. Thank you for doing this. You're welcome. It's nice to be thanked. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We have oh, wait, we didn't do hearts. Let's do some hearts while I'm talking, okay? So hearts while I'm talking for our last answer. We have a toddler who will be 2.5 on the 28th. It takes us quite some time to get him to sleep for naps and nighttime. And when he wakes up, he's up and screaming and ends up in our bed. Trying to get him to settle down and stay in his room is a hassle and not something we can always do at 2 and 3 a.m. in the morning. How do we show him that sleeping is positive and good for him? And how do we show him how to go back to sleep on his own to wake up happy and not crying?
Okay. So 2.5-year-olds are expert procrastinators. If procrastination was an Olympic sport, we would have 2-year-olds taking part because they are so good at it, really are. So this makes things obviously really, really tricky. So a couple of things that you can do. We're still going to have toddlers who procrastinate. That's kind of their MO. That's it. That's kind of what they do. But we can try and make that a little bit easier. So one is trying to help your toddler to relax. Now, that's not something that we generally put sort of often in a sentence together. Toddler and relax don't necessarily go well together. Toddlers are just busy from the second that they wake up until they very reluctantly fall asleep. They are on the go continuously. And so that actually getting relaxed is half the battle when it comes to sleep. Sometimes you just like, if you would just slow down, you would actually be able to fall asleep. So this is both for nap time and for nighttime. So actually having the environment, which is going to be helpful for sleep. And so that means that the space needs to be dark for the nap time and for the nighttime. Now, you still need to see what you're doing. We don't want you sort of, walking into things. But blackout curtains, we're getting into the summer, so we need to have blackout curtains that are a must. Have a lamp in the room. So you do need to see what you're doing. So you'll go into the room, you'll close up those curtains, turn your little lamp on, which doesn't have an energy-saving light bulb. Energy-saving light bulbs inhibit the production of melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that we create that induces sleep. We need this. We want this. And we want our toddlers to have as much of this as possible. And so when we're going into the space, even if we're then spending 30 minutes in the space before we're trying to get to sleep, they're beginning to produce melatonin. And so that means then when we're sort of doing that whole lights out, it should be easier for them to fall asleep because there's more of it going through their system. That's really, really important. Those are the two main things with our environment. No screen time as well as part of that routine. If you do need to have screen time, because sometimes screen time helps those toddlers to physically slow down, do that right at the beginning of your routine, then have about 30 minutes of routine after that. You could try doing some sort of light meditation with your child. You can buy some things. There's they're on YouTube and they are as sort of videos, but you can just listen to the audio. And they're really sort of great for breathing in, breathing out, and sort of stretching toes. So they're actually things that are great for children to be learning and relaxing and unwinding at a very, very young age. As well, one thing you may want to do is to help with toddler or preschooler to kind of put their day to bed before going to bed. And so that can be talking through the day. I like to start this at about dinner time. Something that we used to do as a family where we'd all talk about our day. With a child this young, you're going to have to be doing most of the talking, most of the prompting, but just start. Do you remember what we had for breakfast? And then we did this, and then we did this. Or you did this at preschool, or you did this at daycare. Talking through it just kind of helps them process. It's sort of the toddler equivalent of journaling. And journaling can sort of help just kind of process your day that can make that easier for you to sleep. And so that's a toddler version of. So working on then, that may be that they're not spending quite so long falling asleep, and maybe that you're still there with them as they're falling asleep. But if it's happening fairly quickly, then that means we can work on getting you less and less involved, because if you need to be there at the beginning of the night, you're going to need to be there during the night when they wake. Humans wake between 2 and 6 times a night, so waking up is completely normal. So this can actually help them where they are not needing you there. They don't need you at the beginning, they're not going to need you during the night. So you can then work on getting less and less involved, and that could just be popping out of the room for a sec when they're in bed and coming back in. Popping out next night, leaving the room for a little bit longer and coming back in. Just work on the beginning of the night, don't work on the during the night, as they're then falling asleep a little bit more independently at the beginning of the night, they may be able to then do it during the night as well. So just do what you're naturally doing. What bringing them in with you is completely fine. It's not a quick fix. There never ever is with 2-year-olds. So just go at it really, really slow. But those sort of ideas really, really going to be helpful. But this issue is so common with this age. It really is. There is no way that she's the only person, probably even on her street, who is going through it, because it's really, really common, and I hear this so often. So remembering as well that this is kind of normal, and so I think if you know that, this is normal, but just you may not get perfection, but you can get good enough, and that may be that you need to be in the room for a little while whilst they fall asleep, and then you can leave.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. It was great. Really such good tips and advice. I wanted to just take a moment because I want to let you. Do you guys want to know what the prize is from Earth Mama? We didn't really talk about it because someone's going to.
I want deodorant to be in the prize.
Definitely want this. Not that I'm saying you need this deodorant, but everybody. Everybody needs this deodorant. I need this deodorant. But we're going to give away a breastfeeding bundle tonight with all the breastfeeding products from Earth Mama Organics. And I want to show you real quick because, we get so many questions about low milk supply. We get so many questions about weaning. And there are actually 2 teas that they have that I love and recommend all the time. And it's the Earth Mama Milkmaid tea. I'm going to show you a picture here. So these are the breastfeeding. This is the package that you're going to get. Okay, so you get the sample of the deodorants and the teas and the organic nipple butter, which is awesome. Okay, you really want this. And then there's also a tea and the booby tubes. There's also a tea. Let's see here. This is the nipple butter. Okay, so you're going to get one of those. The Milkmaid tea. And then there's a tea called No More Milk. Okay, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before, but this is a great herbal tea that is totally safe and great to help bring down milk supply. So that's wonderful if you're a mom that suffers from oversupply, recurrent plugged ducts, and mastitis from it, difficulty with latching, and just baby gassy from all the too much milk and too much formilk. Or if you're trying to wean your baby, this is a great way to start decreasing your milk supply so that you can do it a little quicker. So No More Milk tea and the Milkmaid tea. Both teas are not to be, and there's the deodorant. Oh, there's a good picture. Okay, so the different flavors.
Have you tried eating them?
What?
Have you tried eating them?
I have not tried it, but you could. They are completely organic. And that's the same goes for the nipple butter. I want to say that because when we talk about nipple butter or nipple cream or anything that you put on your nipple, remember your baby's mouth is going on that. Okay. And so first of all, for anyone who's taken my online classes, anyone who's heard me for a long time, you know that I do not recommend lanolin. Okay. And that's like the kind that they give out at the hospital.
Yeah.
But I do not recommend using any lanolin on your nipple or putting any of that in your baby's mouth. There are toxins and pesticides. Lanolin comes from the skin of a sheep, okay? And they are sprayed down with insecticides and pesticides, and particles of that can be in the lanolin. And so even though some claim that it's so small, it doesn't matter. I don't want any pesticides or chemicals going into my baby or on their mouth or on my breast for that matter. Okay, so the nipple butter is one of my favorite things, and it's great for using on your nipples. It's safe for your baby to put in their mouth so that you don't have to worry about washing it off. It has calendula in it, which actually heals the nipple, where lanolin is just a very thick, sticky substance.
Horrible stuff. It's like glue.
To rub on, and especially if your nipples are a little sore. I remember I didn't know about this with my first baby. And so I was trying to use the lanolin from the hospital, and I'd have to sit on it to warm it up just to be able to get it out of the stupid tube because it was so thick, and then rubbing it on a sore nipple. It just was not, it's not great. Okay. This nipple butter is just, it's all natural organic oils. It's completely organic. Even the beeswax now is completely organic in here. So you've got a completely organic product, no GMOs. and actually has calendula, which is an herb that really does to help to heal the skin. So I recommend this one above all others for sure. And it works great on your lips. It works great on your cuticles. It works great on any kind of cuts or scrapes for healing. It works great as a diaper cream. If you need to, even though they do make a diaper cream, you can use this one in a pinch. Just don't stick your fingers back and forth from the baby's butt to your nipple. I always like to throw that in for a moment. And then it also works great like on your pump flange too, to make it a more comfortable experience for pumping. So if you're using a really hard flange, which the Even Flow doesn't have a hard flange, they have the soft silicone flanges, but on the hard flange pumps, using that as like a lubricant can help it to slide better, to help the nipple slide better in the flange tunnel and make it more comfortable. So that's our prize from Earth Mama tonight, and we're going to give away a whole package of breastfeeding. And the deodorant is one of the breastfeeding products because it's right there near your breast, and it's one of those important things that you want to do when you're breastfeeding or anytime, pregnant and beyond. So let's get some hearts for our prize from Earth Mama and for both of our amazing partners tonight and all the prizes and for, really making all of this possible. They're the reason why we're able to come on here and do this. They're the reason why my classes are now offered. You can just go watch them. So just give them hearts and love. They really do support all of you and support education. And that's what I love so much about the companies that I work with. They really value really great quality information, education for all of you. And so give them hearts. I do have another question that I do want to answer. It's a breastfeeding question. And it came in from Aisha. I think I'm saying that right. Aisha? I thought I saw her name here in the chat tonight. I'm not sure. She said her daughter is having bad reflux. She's unable to sleep and she wakes up every 20 to 30 minutes, having a problem with the bottle also. Since birth, she will never get well, a little better, but I can't understand what she's saying. Since birth, I think she speaks a different language. So that's why it's a little bit, and I appreciate that you're posting it here. Since birth, she never got well, a little better, but again, same cycle begins. How can I get her to sleep? Okay. So what I want to say about that, what really stood out for me about the reflux, and I know a lot of moms, a lot of babies are dealing with this, and a lot of medication given out for reflux, which I just posted a whole article about how unsafe these reflux medications really are for babies. And I've been saying that for a very long time. It's not just this go ahead and put them on medication, which so often the pediatricians are doing. Typically, here's a couple of ideas of what could be happening. One is that the baby may not be burping frequently enough. And we talked about this earlier. I don't know how many reflux issues I have cured with good burping and encouraged burping throughout the feeding. You may need to burp your baby up to 5-6 times during a feeding, depending on how they're swallowing and how the milk is flowing. And the other thing I want to mention too, if the baby's having trouble with reflux and having a problem waking up every 20 to 30 minutes and also struggling with a bottle, please look into whether the baby has a tongue tie or a lip tie or both. Usually both. One of the things that can happen when the baby is tongue-tied, and that's where the baby's, there's tissue that's holding the baby's tongue down to the floor of the mouth, where the baby can't raise their tongue or extend their tongue the way they need to. And they need to do that to breastfeed. So if the tongue is kind of tethered down and it's restricting the flow of that tongue, they're unable to really latch properly. And sometimes you'll hear clicking sounds when they're nursing. They'll have difficulty staying on and maintaining their latch because the seal keeps breaking. And then one other thing you'll see is that they swallow a lot of air. And those are that are often diagnosed as having reflux. But what's really happening is something called aerophagia, where the baby is swallowing air with the feedings because they cannot keep a good seal on the breast. And so they do have a lot of air in the belly, and then a lot comes out, and they're also uncomfortable, and that whole cycle. When you see it with a bottle too, very often that's what's going on, because babies with tethered oral tissues or tongue tie will not just have difficulty sucking on the breast, but it's ongoing issues with sucking on the bottle. It's issues with eating solid foods later. It's issues with speech. These kids are often in speech therapy for years because of this, and not diagnosed properly. Very misdiagnosed often. So make sure that you are paying attention to that you understand what that is, that you are seeing a professional who knows what they're supposed to be looking for, and they're helping you. And if you want more information about tongue ties, we did a really awesome, I did 2 shows, one with Dr. Siegel alone last summer, and then one in the fall with a whole panel of experts on tethered oral tissues and tongue ties. It was fantastic. And it's all in the library. So when you join the group and you join the membership, you'll be able to access those episodes and take a look at those too. Maybe Kate or Stephanie in the chat here, somebody can get the episode numbers and post them here, so that if anybody needs to watch the tongue tie episodes, they can know what number to go to, or just post it in the group. How about that? Just post the episode numbers in our private group, and then they can go right to it. All right. So Aisha, I hope that helps. It will definitely it will definitely interfere with the amount of sleep the baby will be hungry, or they're just not taking in enough at a feeding, so they can't get enough in. Then they fall asleep exhausted from trying so hard. And this over time can really impact your milk supply. So you might not see that right away, but it can happen later. All right. So please address it. All right. Wow, this whole hour is gone. We're actually over at this point. We're overtime. We're overtime, and we could talk all night. I mean, there are that many questions. That's why we're doing this every 2 weeks, and maybe we'll pop into the private group and do a little bit more at some point.
Yeah,
we're going to be together next month.
We are.
Rebecca and I are going to be at the New York Baby Show. And this year, we are going to be having our own breast sleeping Q&A at the New York Baby Show live. So I'm super excited that we get to do this live and together with all you guys who are going to attend. And I'm sure we'll be doing some live streaming to bring all of you into our talk and our live event. And if anybody's in the New York or New Jersey area and wants to come to the New York Baby Show, when is it? It's like May
20-something.
May 20-something. Okay,
that really narrows it down, doesn't it?
We can get back to you with that. But it's sometime like mid to end of May, and it'll be in New York. And if anybody's in the area and wants to come see us, we would love it. Yeah. So get your ticket and come see us, right? But we're going to actually do we'll be doing another Q&A right before that. Yeah. We'll be coming back to everybody. So Rebecca, thank you again for an awesome night.
Thank you.
Oh, it's great to be with you. Great to be with you. And great to be with everybody here. Thanks, you guys, for joining us. I'm glad it worked out and the computer was cooperative, sort of.
Kind of.
Am I still on the camera? I can't even tell.
I hope so. I hope it's not just me.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what I thought happened with Jamie. Actually, I couldn't hear him, so I kept saying, I don't know if you're still there, but I'll say goodbye for everybody.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. All right, everyone, have a good night. And again, you want to join the private group? There's a link here in the post. When we end right now, you can go click the link, and you'll be able to get to everything that we talked about tonight. And that's it.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. Mwah. Good night, everyone. Take care.
Bye.